Shalom. So in this video, we're going to talk about Psalms 91, a prayer for freedom and deliverance, right? So we're going to talk about prayer. We're going to talk about spiritual and environmental oppression. We're going to talk about deliverance. And we're also going to talk about healing. This is where you seek physician, right? So first, let us talk about prayer. What do we know about prayer? When you pray, what you're actually doing is you're praying, you're speaking to the one who is in authority, the ultimate authority. So you're speaking directly to the Most High. You're speaking directly to the Most High. He has the control to change the situation. So if you're speaking on behalf of someone else, what you would say you're petitioning for that person, right? So it's like you're opening a case in the courtroom, right? So that means that it's gonna take the confession of the person. So the person is gonna have to um confess their sins to you and things that they were involved in that open doors, right? Open portals. So you can bring that case to the Most High and you bring all your, your strong evidence, okay, your pieces of evidence to say, okay, this and this, the person is guilty of such and such. However, you want the Most High to judge, not according to the judgment that the person deserves, but he's going to judge according to his extended mercy, right? So it's kind of like, when you're begging for someone. So that's actually what you're doing, right? You're interceding on their behalf, right? So we're going to talk about how you use Psalms 91 in that case, right? So first, we're just understanding a little bit about prayer before we get into the details, right? Now, as for me personal, I strongly follow the laws of the priest, the ways of the priest, right? So when you're dealing with situations like this, when I'm dealing with situations like this, I like the consecration part, just like the priest would consecrate themselves, right? So whatever I'm doing for a person, so if I'm giving them a water baptism, most likely I would do the same for myself first, just like when you read in Leviticus chapter 16, before the priest could do something on behalf of Israel, they had to first do for themselves. What does that also teach them? It teaches us humility, meaning not because I'm doing this for you, it does not place me um in a higher position. It means I'm just as filthy as you then. So every time I have to consecrate myself, every time I have to do this, it humbles me so that there's no pride to rise up because I understand that I'm in the same thing as this person, right? So I have to do that consecration according to the laws of Leviticus 16. Now, also, there's a part where the priest would have to put on this holy garment, right? No, I don't put on a physical outfit. The garment is be mentally and spiritually prepared. So, this holy garment, this clothing, we're going to clothe ourselves with the word of the Most High. So that means when you're going to face whatever you're supposed to face, you're always going to use the word of God, not your own words, not your own thinking and feeling, right? Because this can be dangerous when it comes down to the deliverance, right? Because remember, you're dealing with entities, you're dealing with forces of energy. They know your dark secrets too, and they can prey upon your guilt, right? But that's for when we get to this part. So, this is why you want to be prepared so that they don't attack you, mentally. You have to be strong with the faith, right? Now, prayer must be prayed with intent. We must have strong intentions with our prayers. A lot of times, it's not that we really have problems praying, it's just that we don't put the intention in our prayer. It's just like uttering words, empty words. It's not really coming from a strong place of faith, right? So you have to pray with intention. Now, when it comes down to Hebraic rites, every rite each rite go with a psalm, right? So there's a psalm to every baptism or whatever you're doing, which is important for us to know what psalms to use in what cases. Like spiritual oppression, you can use Psalms 10, Psalms 15. In some cases, Psalms 91, some cases, Psalm 63, Psalms 21. Psalm 65, depending on the situation that you're dealing with. So it's important to know your Psalms when you're dealing with these types of case, right? Now, in the case of Psalms 91, let's look at Psalms 91 and get an example of doing things with intention, right? So I'm just going to go through the first few verses. So it says, he who dwells in the secret place of El Elyon shall abide under the shadow of El Shaddai, right? I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress. Now, when you're interceding on behalf of someone else, remember, no, it's not about you. And no, you're not going to use the scripture as if you're talking about, you're reading something about David's testimony, right? You are placing all the intention in here. So you're dealing with such and such person. Say the name is John Tom. You want to put his name in this to say that you're dealing with this actual person's situation, right? So let's go again. You're going to use his name, John Tom, who dwells in the secret place of El Elyon shall abide under the shadow of El Shaddai, right? John Tom will say of Yahuwah, Yahuwah is John Tom's refuge and John Tom's fortress, right? John Tom Elohim, in him will John Tom trust. Surely Yahuwah shall deliver, surely Yahuwah shall deliver Jantam from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Now here you want to make a list of everything that Jantam's going through, all the symptoms, everything that he's facing, right? So you're going to put all the details because you're dealing with his exact situation. So you're going to be precise, you're going to be specific with all the details, whatever it is. Cannot keep a wife, cannot do this, cannot do. You're gonna list all of those things, right? It says, it says, Yahweh shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings shall Jantam trust. His truth shall be Jantam's shield and buckler, right? And you Jantam, and Jantam shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day. And here again, you're going to list all the details. So whether it be the spirit of envy that's coming from family members, friends, in the work environment, whatever it is, everything that is coming at him, right? Whether it be the finances being attacked, his relationship, things with his family, whatever it is, you're gonna list all those things. So you're gonna deal with all the details, right? Sometimes their situations are very powerful, meaning it has been there for so long that and they weren't doing anything about it. So what happens is after ignoring it for a period of time, it becomes stronger and stronger. So sometimes you're gonna need help from the angels, right? So in these cases, you're gonna summon your angels. Now you summon your archangels. You're going to summon all the hosts of heaven from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south, the four directions, right? And you're going to need that supreme spirit to hover above. So what you're doing here is what? You're preparing the camp. So sometimes you'll read when Israel go to war, the Most High says, three tribes make your camp towards the south, another three towards the east, another three towards the north, another three towards the right. It's an you have to look at that in a spiritual sense. So it's just like your home, right? You need the angels to camp around your home. So no matter where energy is coming from, they cannot come in because you're protected by the four corners at the four corners. And you have the spirit of the Most High that hovers above, so nothing can come this way. So you are encamped, you are safe, you're under his shield, you're under his wing, you're under his dwelling place. And that's the word of the Most High. So it's important to call on the angels to strengthen you. You're not going to be calling the angels directly. You're going to ask the Most High to send them. So no, you're not praying to the angels. right? Because our people, they love to look for all these things that you're not saying are implying, right? So yes, you want to name all the burdens of the possessed person, all everything that they're going through. You're gonna deal with, like I said, you're gonna deal with their confessions before. So that's just an example of how to use the Psalms 91 for prayer. Now, with spiritual oppression, you're dealing with external forces of energy that exercises authority in an overpowering way. Remember, it says, you wrestle not against flesh and blood. So there are opposing forces out there that are, intercepting our lives, our daily lives. How are they overpowering us? They tell us what to think, what to believe. They show us past and future. They show us the underworld. So they rob us of our senses, meaning you speak to some people sometimes, it's like they're saying some things, they sound deep in some cases, but then they sound mixed up when you really listen to them. You see what I'm saying? So that is how they control their minds. It alters their reality. It's hard for them to discern between what is real and what is not real, right? Even between actual people, like they'll have these people, their support system, but based on what they're seeing here, they think something is wrong with these people. So they have a way to bind your strong man, and then their strong man start to sit up in your body and rule, right? So the kingdom of darkness takes over the kingdom of light. They like to manipulate you through fear. So once they go and show you the underworld, show you all these things, it's easy for them to overpower you with what you've just witnessed. And then if the people in your life, they don't understand this, and they start to look at you differently, then it can cause a bigger eruption between you and them, because you know what you saw, they don't. And if they don't understand that you are seeing things and what you're seeing is real, and also not only in the underworld these entities will show you, but guess what? Even in this world right here, they'll open they'll open your mind to a different dimension. Meaning, this is how it works, right? I can be here now. There can be another person standing next to me that I cannot see, right? And there can be another person over here that this person that I cannot see this person, right? So it's always two forces. So when this person who is possessed are seeing these things, how can they not fear what they're seeing? So you might be talking to a woman over there, right? This woman has a dead child or grandchild with her. But you don't know, you don't even know that someone in their family died at that age, right? So you see, when this person comes and talk to you about the person you were talking to, about the dead child that was with them, you're like, no, she doesn't have a dead child or grandchild. You don't know. But it doesn't mean that what the person is saying is not true, right? So they will use these things to cause eruption, and the more you don't understand the person, if the person is not humble enough, they will go into aggression. So the character of the person has a lot to do with the entity that possesses them, and that's the part that is hard again when it comes to deliverance, when the character of the person and the entity is the same, right? So I'll leave that details for when we get to this point. So if you remember if you remember Legion, right? After he was okay, after his deliverance and so forth, he was sitting at what? In his right mind. So that's what I mean when I say the demons can rob you of your senses, meaning you're not so conscious to this reality. They're only giving you bits and pieces. So it's like they keep alternating whenever they want. So this minute someone comes and talk to you, it's like you're in your right mind. You talk to them perfect. Next 10 minutes, it's like everything changes. right? So yes, some of them come to rob you of your senses. They come for different purposes, and that's part of it. So the ones that they come to rob their senses, they mostly sit here, right? So it can be external force next to the person, whispering things in the ear, and it sounds like it's in the head. It seems as if it's in the head, but they're right next to the person, right? There was this woman who was strongly possessed. She passed anyway, but they were going to see her husband at the time was a fisherman, and they only they heard when she said, "No, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to jump over. Stop telling me to jump overboard." So the entity was right next to her, whispering in her ears, but it's so strong, it seemed as if it's in her head. But remember, people understand that she's possessed. So only who could have seen the entity could see that the person was next to her, right? Now, what happened is that energies will counter anything that's electrical or mechanical or in a sort of that form. Now, when the entity left from beside the woman sitting at the bow and get close to the person working the engine would shut off completely. Cannot start, doesn't matter how it opens. But when it goes back beside the woman, boom, and the engine starts, right? So we have to understand this, how negative energy affects things in our homes. The light start on and off, on and off. If you have your radio on, it starts to alter the frequency. So you'll find out that the radio was playing perfect, and then it's like shh, like it's searching for channel. It's being intercepted by a different force of energy, right? If you have clocks in your house, the battery would just drain immediately. So your clock stop working. So these are things you can look at to know when negative energy passes through. If it's a neutral energy, like somebody who is not against you, like a relative or family member that passed, they can come and it doesn't change anything. But negative energy comes and drain, right? And even you, it drains your mental energy too, right? So that's a little understanding of spiritual oppression. And this is why it's important for people who are under such um, attacks to go through a process of water baptism. Why is it necessary? Because it cleanses the external energy from around you. Now it gives you a freeness of mind. So you're in a state now where you can consciously make decisions towards your deliverance. When the external energy is there and the internal energy is there, it's hard for the person doesn't have much of a free will. But after the baptism, the person is in that way. So water baptism is very important. Now we're going to talk about environmental oppression. I put this term together, right? You remember Abraham situation, right? He had to leave family members, everything, everyone there, and go to a different place in order to receive the blessing, right? So I say this to say that a lot of us are in certain areas. Probably we live around our families, we live around um, partners, but these people are blocking our blessings. And in order for us to receive prosperity in our lives, we have to get up and move out. We have to sometimes leave everything behind. So no matter how much money you spend on this and that, sometimes you just have to just pack up and you can only leave with the clothes that's on your back. You don't have time to take furniture or this or that. The time is not there. You just have to move. So you might be in that same environment. You're making a lot of money, but rest assured, as the money comes in your hand, it goes away. So you will not be prospering. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to make money. You're going to be making money. You're just not going to prosper, right? So until you get up and you go forth out of that land, you will never prosper. Just like with what's the guy name? Lot. He had to get up out of Sodom. Sometimes we're so attached to the things the material things that we own, that we cannot leave them behind. We cannot give up this life to save the life that the Most High wants us to have, to find our God given purpose. So the energy in that environment is keeping you bound to that place. So it takes willpower to just get up and move. Take no thought for tomorrow, you just move and watch your blessings flow. Now the part that hinders people a lot is when they don't have the willpower to do something that's conducive to what they've been praying for. Here's an example. You're in this situation, right? You want to do this over here, but based on your situation, your condition, and whatever it is, you cannot do it, right? Now you finally get a chance to go somewhere else where now you should be applying changes to maintain the prosperity that's going to come to you. But you went over there, but you still take the same behavior. You take the same beliefs. You did not change anything. You did not try to apply to make changes. So what happens? You invite everything, all the energies that were over here holding you back, you're inviting them with you. You did not leave them behind. So you did not move like Lot and his daughters, just go and never look back. You left, but like Lot's wife, looking back. You have to apply changes. You have to be doing things conducive to what your prayers are about. Even if it's simple as you would want to say wear more dresses and skirts as opposed to pants, right? This environment that you're in, it keeps you wearing pants because of whatever reasons. Now you go over here, right? What should you be doing? No, you should start making effort. So when you go clothes shopping, you should be buying what? More skirts, more dresses. Why would you still be buying pants? And you pray that that's one of the things you want to change. You see, another thing about prayer is we want the Most High to keep his end of the bargain, but we don't even want to keep our end. Matter of fact, we don't even know that we have an end of the bargain. So sometimes we pray, we just pray for the Most High to do something. But it doesn't work like that. You pray, you make a vow, you're going to commit yourself to doing something, and then the Most High, he would do something in return. So if you cannot commit yourself to your own vows or prayers, but why do you expect that from the Most High? So prayer is a vow. Most High, do this for me, take me out of this environment, take me out of this place, and when I get there, I'm gonna start doing this. But you see, the Most High remove you out of that situation, but you go there doing the same things that you were doing over here. Keep your end of the bargain when you pray. Apply changes, right? Do things that are conducive to the path that you're going on, that you want to go on. Now we're going to talk about deliverance, right? Deliverance is the overthrowing of the kingdom of darkness by the kingdom of light, right? The flip side is being possessed when the kingdom of darkness overpowers or overthrows the kingdom of light, right? So in deliverance, say this is what happens. Now, in deliverance, the possessed person must desire the deliverance. When you look at Mark chapter 5, verse 6, what you see happen? The guy saw the Messiah and ran to him, right? What is that telling us? Compellence. So you see that force, we know something is wrong. We know that we are different behaviorally, or thinking, or thought process, whatever it is, or diet, something is off, but we can't really help ourselves, right? But it's that strong force to fight to go towards the thing that you see can help you. So it needs compellence. A lot of the people, it's not really the demons that are holding on to them. It's really them holding on to the demons. So if anybody needs to be delivered, is you know, is them should be delivered from the demon, not the demon being delivered out of them. That's how bad it is, right? So yes, you have to desire that change. Some of us are stubborn, and the scripture says, stubbornness is like the sin of witchcraft. You understand? So you're rejecting the very thing that the very help that you're getting. You're gonna be rejecting it, not knowing that you're not rejecting the person there that comes to help you. You're rejecting the grace of the Most High. And this is what I was saying, that the personality of the character of the person has a lot to do with the forces that latches onto them. For example, if this person has a spirit of humility in all his ways, right? When the spirit of pride comes, a simple prayer can get rid of it, because it cannot hold tight to this spirit that is inside of this person. But what happens when this person is prideful and the spirit of pride comes? After a while, the spirit itself doesn't have to do anything. It can just step back and allow the personality of that individual to fight as if it is the demon actually fighting. So yes, normally the character of the person blends in and merge as one. And that's another state of the deliverance, which we're going to look into the different stages, right? Now, when you walk into the deliverance, whatever process you're starting with, you're going to experience the presence of that entity, whether they come with heat, sometimes they come with funky smell, very stink, sometimes they come with, even just a drainage of your mental energy, making you weary, making you weak. You can you can feel the different the density in the atmosphere, then put it that way. So you can feel the presence of an unclean spirit, right? So that's the first stage after you start your deliverance process. Now, after that, what happens is, this is where the demons start to pretend, meaning the character of the person and the demon is hard to tell. So the demon will pretend like it's gone, and this is the person now, coming back to reality, coming back to, you know, and when you're aware of it, you don't fall for it, right? Because this is where the demons laugh at the person who is doing the deliverance. You don't fall for it, that's the stage. Demons are predictable. They're intelligent, but they're predictable, which makes them weaker. So the fact that you can know what they're going to do before they do it, it's easy for you to do what? To trap them. But you also have to have that spiritual intelligence, right? Otherwise, they can prey upon you as well. So after they merge with the character of the person, after they start to pretend that, oh, they're casted out and is the person now crying for your help, right? You you uncover are you uncover the truth, so they know that you know the difference between them and the personality of the person. So it means they cannot hide anymore. This is where you shine the light on the darkness, right? So they cannot hide anymore. So they know that you can discern between the two, the character and the entity, right? So now you have the chance to do what? It's going to speak to you. Now, demons, you hear they say the devil is a liar? Believe that. They tell you a lot of truth. So when you get them to speak, no, they're going to tell you a lot of things. They might tell you how they come in, how they entered into that person, what happened. They'll tell you all the details when you ask them questions, and believe that they will be telling you the truth, because these entities hold no loyalty to who sent them. So once you start hearing the voice speaking, then you can get a lot of information out of them. So this is the book of Mark, chapter 5, and verse 7. It says, and cried with a loud voice, and said, what have I to do with you, Yahusha, son of El Elyon? I adjure you by Elohim, that you torment me not. So the demon speaking in the name of the Most High. For he said unto him, No, for he said unto him, Come out of the man, you unclean rock. And he asked him, What is your name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. So you see, once you get their name, now you can interact with the demon directly. So you're hearing the voice of the demon. So you will even notice there's a switch with the way the person speaks, the actual person, and the voice that the demon uses. Right? So once you reach to this point where you're communicating, you're getting somewhere. Right? Now this is where you apply the word of the Most High. You speak using the scriptures, right? Going with the demon, going with the demon, and of course, it might get in a rage. It might get aggressive. It might want to hurt. It might want to break things that is around. I remember my wife and my wife and I were dealing with my brother a few years ago, and while she was praying and I was reading, doing the Psalms, we were doing together simultaneously. While she is praying, I was reading, and he got so mad. And there was the bucket, a little container where he was throwing up in. He kicked it, splashed it on her. He was sitting on the floor, like on a mattress on the floor in the corner, and my mother was on the bed behind me and my wife, and he spat, and it went all the way up there in her face. So they will be doing all these things in their aggression, but don't mind that. Don't fall for it. Don't try to be defensive or try to just carry on what you're doing. Just continue what you're doing. And after that, this is where, you know, the person will get a freedom, deliverance, right? So sometimes they'll come out in the form of mucus, spit, coughing, whatever it is. Sometimes even poop, right? It comes out in whichever way. Sometimes it's like a yarn, like yeah, it comes out in many different ways. So that is also how it works. That is how the deliverance work. No, we're going to talk about healing. Seek physician. Now let me tell you this. If the matter is spiritual, you cannot go to a physician. And if the matter is physical, you cannot go to a spiritualist. You have to go to the right person to get the job done the right way, right? For example, Luke chapter 8, verse 43. The woman spent all her 12 years of her life going to physician, going to doctors to take care of her um, bleeding. But that was not a physical matter, so no matter what they gave her, it wouldn't do anything, it would make a difference. But what did? She saw the Messiah and she touched the garment, and the virtue, along with her faith, like I was saying before, compellence, is that compellence is an exercising of the faith of the possessed person or the sick person, whatever the case is. We have to have that compellence in us. Now, it's the same for a person having constant headaches. It's not it's not always just a headache. You go to the doctor will tell you that your sinuses is draining in your head. Yeah, that's what they'll see in their system because they're not gonna see a spirit is attached to something there and doing this and that, feeding on your mental energy, causing you constant headache every day. They're not gonna see that. So now you're treating what? A so-called symptom, sinus. Does it stop the headache? No. Can you get a temporary ease? Of course you can. But that's nothing. That's how the woman spent 12 years going to doctors. Of course, she might get some ease at some point, but it's not cured, right? So you have to go to the right person for the right sickness based on what you're going through. Now, demons, they can manifest as parasites in the body, right? So sometimes you find out that your diet thing is off. You cannot eat certain things, or the healthy foods like vegetables and drinking your water or unsweetened tea, you cannot really connect to that type of thing. But all these junk foods, yes, you can get it, you can eat it, and you don't have any problem, right? Because this is fueling the mucus that's here, and it's okay for the parasites or for the demon, because it's not making better your health. So they will make you feel okay eating these foods, but this is like blah. Like I was saying, they can do that with the headache just the same. Constant headache every day. Mess with you on a physical level, maybe even the blood flow. So sometimes you're gonna have to put a warm towel at the back of your neck to increase the flow of the blood that goes to your head. You're gonna have to get your herbs. You're gonna have to get your rosemary, your nutmeg, your cinnamon leaves, crush them together, tie them in a thin piece of cloth, like a thin socks or something, and you're gonna place it at the pillow. So while you're sleeping, you're inhaling it. So the nutmeg is the main thing, but you need all of them, right? And notice I said three. You use odd numbers when you're dealing with these things. Now, under the pillow, you can put a single clove of garlic, and this will help you sleep during the night, right? Also, the exercising. Sometimes you need the physical exercise to change your system, because when you're exercising, your entire system is changing, right? You'll find out that you will have a lot of air, a lot of gas inside, right? But it's only through exercising you're gonna get that free of them. You might not know. You might be so comfortable that you don't even know that it's there. But through exercise, you will see how badly affected you were with it, right? Again, with the stomach, sometimes they will come to you as what you call acid reflux, right? So you know you're gonna need your slippery elm to drink for the ulcer, right? Now, one of the things to understand that's very important is most of the times we don't really fail on the spiritual part of the healing journey. We fail on the physical, because with the spiritual part, the spiritualist will be helping you to um to heal, meaning they will be doing these things, so you can just sit back and they do what they're doing. Now when it comes down to the physical part that you have to do, you don't have that willpower, meaning like to apply changes, to do something new, to change your diet, to sleep right, to exercise right. That has nothing to do with the people or the person who is doing your deliverance. That part is for you. It's just like when you go to see a doctor, right? And the doctor says, okay, this is this, you get this and this. From you leave the office, whether you go and buy those medications, whether you take them, that part has nothing to do with the doctor. That's something that you have to do yourself. So I hope this gives a little understanding or insight on how it goes with praying for deliverance, oppression, spiritual oppression, deliverance, and the healing aspect of the journey. Shalom.